the summer of 2009, cable news was wall-to-wall with healthcare and its frustrations. Cable news was wall-to-wall with stuff like this every single day.
Is this live?
I believe
this is live.
Wait a minute. You want to leave?
Things are getting physical. At the Earl Inspector Town Hall, let's take a quick listen.
Because your people told me I could. I called your office and I was told I could have the mic to speak. One day God's going to stand before you and he's going to judge you and the rest of your damn cronies up on the hill. And then you will get your just desserts.
Summer of 2009, cable news could not get enough of screaming town hall meetings where Democratic members of Congress and the Senate would return to their districts and then they'd get berated by conservatives screaming at them over the health reform bill and how God would judge them for it. Cable networks would cut out of their regularly scheduled segments to go to these things live. Well, now a year and a half later, the same sort of thing is happening, minus the talking points and the vinyl-wrapped buses. This time, with Congress on recess, town hall events across the country are, again, lighting up with anger and frustration. But this time, it is about the official Republican Party budget plan. The Paul Ryan budget plan, which drastically cuts taxes for the richest Americans back to what they were in the 1930s. It drastically cuts taxes for corporations. It gives billions of dollars in tax breaks to oil companies, those poor, orphaned, hard-luck oil companies. And it also, incidentally, ends Medicare. It repeals Medicare. It turns Medicare instead into a coupon system, and it makes senior citizens buy private health insurance. That Republican budget plan, it turns out, is really unpopular. That has been made clear in lots of different polling that's been done over the last few weeks. Some of the poll numbers here about Medicare. What's different this week, though, is that Republicans who just voted for the kill Medicare, cut taxes for the rich plan last week, Republicans who voted for the Republican budget last week, now it's the Republicans who have to go back to their districts and defend what they just did. And that has turned out to be a mighty challenge.
If we do nothing, we're in trouble.
That's right.
Why we have to raise taxes on the rich and raise taxes on the corporations. And then have never been richer in the history of our country than they are now. And you guys just cut their taxes again.
No, that is, oh yeah.
People won't cover seniors for the lousy $15,000 that is going to be offered under
this. Stuff is happening all across the country right now. As Republicans voted for the Paul Ryan thing, and now they have to go home and defend that vote. You would not know that this is happening all across the country if you just read the Beltway press or watched most cable TV right now. It's only thanks, actually, to liberal websites like Think Progress and Daily Kos, and thanks to reporters like Jason Lincoln's at Huffington Post, which used to be liberal, but who knows anymore. These are the folks who have been doggedly chronicling these events. Those are the only reason that this stuff is getting out there at all right now. There are not network news crews going out to cover these town hall events like they did back in 2009. The Beltway could not get enough of it back then. But it is happening again right now, the same thing. And because it's not angry conservatives, it's angry everyone else, the Beltway press could not care less. Substantively, the overall effect of the Paul Ryan Republican budget over the next 10 years would be to add $6 trillion more to the national debt. To make the debt $6 trillion worse. That's what happens when you cut rich people's taxes back to what they were in the 30s. And while Republicans just lard all of that onto the deficit and the debt, they are simultaneously saying they will not vote to raise the debt ceiling. So they're very happy to raise the debt, but they're not at all interested in raising the thing that allows us to take on more debt. In metaphor land, that would be steering your car directly at a brick wall while going very fast and refusing to turn the wheel. In the Beltway, what this is called is courage. Of the comprehensive budget plans released in Congress so far this year, the one that actually does the most about the deficit, that balances the budget 20 years earlier than Paul Ryan even tries to, that budget would let the Bush tax cuts expire. It would raise taxes on the very richest people in the country. It would cut defense spending, which, after all, has doubled in the past year and in the past decade, and was already the biggest thing in the discretionary budget. It would end those subsidies for the little orphan oil companies. And on health care costs, which is still the budget-eating dragon in America, what we would get is a public option. How does that sound compared to the cutting taxes for the rich and dismantling Medicare thing? This is the budget of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. The Beltway press does not cover liberals. When the Beltway press covers liberals, it's anthropology. They might as well be putting tags on our ears and watching us in a mating season. The Beltway right now says that the deficit negotiations in Washington have to be between President Obama and the debt-exploding, super unpopular Paul Ryan plan. Why shouldn't it be between President Obama and the progressives? If this really is about fixing the deficit, why on earth is the most fiscally responsible comprehensive budget plan that's been submitted, that's been introduced, that's out there for discussion, why is it not even on the table?